Google will be barred from entering or maintaining any exclusive contract relating to the distribution of Google Search, Chrome, Assistant, or Gemini. Love it. Good for the industry. Now, that means when you're Apple, you can say to Google, hey, we'd love to give you an exclusive deal, but we'll give you 50% of the searches coming in. Or it's an auction. You know, if Yahoo or Bing from Microsoft or DuckDuckGo, if they want to get a certain number of searches this month, they raise some money, they can insert themselves into there. Imagine how the world would be different if DuckDuckGo said, hey, to a bunch of venture capitalists, you know, we got a better mousetrap here.
Yeah.
Can we get $10 billion to buy half of the search deal from Apple? And I think we can make it back.
Yeah.
Great.
So Google will not have to divest Chrome, which I thought was a pretty important point. And we're going to get to how that's impacting the news already, Jason, in just a moment. They're also not barred from making payments, as you mentioned. They're going to share some data with competitors. Essentially, the argument was that because Google would buy market share, they would therefore get more search volume, and therefore they would get more data, and then they can make a better product. And there was a flywheel of essential unfairness. So they're trying to break that to some degree. Okay. Now, people are a bit split on how effective that will be. We'll have to see. And then finally, they won't have to do a ballot screen, essentially on Android, to let you pick a search provider. So really, it's not much other than a forced end of exclusives. And we could end up in a world in which Gemini wins, Jason, and we kind of maintain Google's monopoly status for a longer time in the Gen AI search era. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think OpenAI is big enough now to really be a real competitor. I just think we need a better, faster mechanism to punish companies that are being anti-competitive in the moment. And I don't think we know what that would be. So disappointing.
All right. So I did see, speaking of browsers, that the browser company sold to Atlassian, one of my favorite companies. Shout out to Scott, one of the co-founders of, along with Mike, of Atlassian from Down Under. You know, they make Jira and a bunch of other cool products.
Yep.
They're buying it?
Yep. $610 million in cash off the balance sheet, less, of course, whatever cash the company had on hand. Deal is expected to close in the second quarter of Atlassian's fiscal 26. And if you want to know what that means, it means Q4 of calendar this year. So basically by the end of 2025. And the whole team's going to move over, and they're going to be treated as a separate entities. Now, Jason, you and I both know that acquisitions are often pitched to companies that are purchased as, don't worry, come over, be a startup. And this is one of those cases. We'll see how long they stay independent over at Atlassian, a $44 or $45 billion company. It's huge. But I thought this was a kind of bold move by Atlassian, a surprise one. But I think if you want to consider the future of work in a agentic AI perspective or era, this is a really smart move because Dia, their browser, is relatively AI forward. So cool. I'm here for it.
You know, I talked a little bit about the Comet browser, having a pretty good experience there. And then, of course, Claude is coming out with their own browser, over at Anthropic.
They made a Chrome extension. OpenAI is theoretically making their own browser, I think is the split.
So, this idea of like the browsers where work gets done, it's the portal to, on the desktop, to the extent that, when Google wanted to take some market share, they created the Chromebook. They named it after the browser. And essentially their thesis was, if we just make a really fast, lightweight operating system that works on any computer, even one with very meager specs, you can use everything through a browser now. You can use Slack through a browser. You could use Notion through a browser, so you don't have to download the apps. You don't have to make a unique app. We'll just do it that way. That's been a relatively good success for them, especially in education.
Yes.
So this makes a lot of sense to me. The price, they have cash. Company's worth $45 billion or so. So this is like 1.x% of the market cap.
Yeah, it's not much. It's very affordable.
Not much. And if they figure something out, this could be yum yum. I think this is a great acquisition. And this is the type, back to our first story, of mid-market acquisition. You got a $44 billion company buying a $600 million company. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's see these kinds of acquisitions happen all the time. If you're over $1 trillion market cap, if you're over 1 billion users, maybe we create a second set of rules for those companies that are at scale, which is how it works in a lot of other geographies. If you have a specific amount of market share in Korea, you can't gain any more. So you have to essentially do other things with your company. So this makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm really interested to see where they go with it. Yeah.